edition of CovInspiration with Dayo Israel. My guest today is Chief Frank Kokori. He was the president and the leader of the National Union of Petroleum NUPENG at that time. And this chief that I'm speaking to today was responsible for actually showing the military that the labor union were ready for a shutdown. He shut down Nigeria and told workers to stay at home before what is now popularly known as coronavirus lockdown. They were shutting down the country against the military. He's here with me today to share his thoughts and his views and his experience at June 12 for us to all learn from. It's good to see you, sir. Chief Kokori, how are you doing, sir?
Fine, thank you.
Thank you so much for joining us, sir. For all our viewers, I'm sorry that we're late, but it's going to be another amazing session today. Let me start from here, sir. Chief, what was your relationship with MKO?
Did you have any relationship with MKO? Yeah, so we weren't close, but the SDP brought us together because I was the National Financial Secretary of the SDP. And at that time, I'm always working with Kinkibe, who is the chairman of the SDP. And I'm a union leader, but I felt at that time that there was so much victimization in the country, injustice, because I felt that MK Abiola won the elections. And Nigeria at that time was not having what the South Africans had, like all those ANC. You see, the ANC were trained freedom fighters. The MPLA of Angola were trained freedom fighters. The SWAPO even, all of them. So we don't have freedom fighters in Nigeria. Everybody was just civil society. And we had only about 2-3 big civil society groups. But what can they do? They will just demonstrate with placards. And with placards, the military can always overcome them. So dictators don't really take placards seriously, especially military dictators. So the only thing that the military dictators all over history take seriously is guerrilla warfare. That's guerrilla warfare. And you must be armed. See, so the nearest thing at that time in Nigeria that can fight them without a freedom fighting machine like the ANC was the trade unions. And the oil trade unions virtually owns this country at that time. Because without the oil at that time, there were very few countries with oil in the world at that time. So Nigeria's oil was very precious. And the government have no other source of income than oil. So when we at the Nigerian Labour Congress, because as a Secretary General of my industrial union, which is the most powerful union then, I was an automatic member of the National Executive and Working Committee of the Labour Congress. But at that time, my comrades sold out. The Labour Congress sold out. So we know that NUPENG was built on the structure of a freedom fighting machine. And I created it intentionally in the early 70s. So I never knew that it would be useful when my country is at a crossroad. So that was how NUPENG came into it. And being a top member of the SDP, so I had access to anybody. So I had access to Kinkibe, who was the chairman. And I planned everything with my union and with the confidence the union had in me. So we decided to take our destiny in our own hand. And we felt that, well, I was young then, not too old like this. So, and I've wanted to fight for my country. I hate injustice. So we have to mobilize across the whole country and told our unions to shut down the rigs, shut down the refineries, shut down the terminals, shut down the tankers. So you don't move, nothing. So the whole oil system was shut down, and the government cannot tolerate that. So that was the nearest thing to an armed struggle. And without oil in Nigeria at that time, Nigeria comes to a standstill. And Nupeng was so powerful. At a stage, Nupeng was virtually the most powerful union in Africa. And that is why I was decorated severally all over the world by the American Federation, the Dutch Federation, the German Federation of Labor, as the most outstanding labor leader of the world during my period in the prison. So that is how it is. You see, we just came out to fight for justice. Not that Abiola is our friend or anything. I just felt the country don't have, what you call a reservoir of freedom fighters. The civil society like the CLO, the CD, yes, they did their best. Those are the two big unions, civil society groups at that time. With the CDHS, something they call the Committee for Democratic. But that is three big civil society organizations. So, and the student union. The student unions were very well organized then at that time. So they were our foot soldiers. You see, they make the noise, but in a democratic, in a military dictatorship
organizations,
it's a more serious struggle. But at that time too, we were ready to. Most of my cadres in Nupeng have been properly trained, and we know we're not fighting for
CHR.
Economism is the fight of labor unions in developing countries all over the world. What you will gain, arrears of salary, upliftment of working conditions.
No, I was saying CDHR. Yes.
Hello? Hello? So that's it, and we decided to take our destiny in our own hands, and that was the beginning of that struggle. It seems I've lost you, but your voice, I'm no more hearing your voice. But you said I should continue talking. So these things, like like what is happening in America today, I can't breathe. Yes, it happened to me. The night I was abducted, and they were about 8 private, secret policemen who abducted me around 1 a.m. And they actually sat on me, on the vehicle, and I could not breathe. And I was shouting. When I was able to whisper some words, I said, look, if people don't get off me, because they were sitting right on me inside the vehicle, I was thrown down on the floor of the vehicle, and they all sat on me. So at the stage, I was almost suffocated. But I managed, in the choice of death, I said, look, if you kill me, this country will get ablaze. And immediately I mentioned that word, they all stood up from me, and I was able to breathe. So this thing, 27 years ago or 26 years ago, it happened to Frank Kokori. I cannot breathe. I can't breathe. It happened to me. So I should have breathed my last breath on that night when I was forcefully abducted.
Can you see me, sir?
I'm seeing
Can you see me now, sir? Excellent.
I'm seeing
There's
you
something
fine.
I wanted to ask. And there's something I wanted to ask you, sir. I wanted to speak to you about. And this was what you said when you came out from detention in 1999. You said, what has become of the organized labor movement that we left behind? The NLC has betrayed the 1994 strike. At the peak of the 1994 crisis, you recall, you had spoken to the NLC leader at that time, Pascal Bafiao. You said, let us be on the right side of history. Can you tell us what happened between you, the National Labour Congress, and Bafiao and others?
Yeah, what I said, you see, I know Pascal is a friend, he's a long-time comrade, but I think he told me some of his problems when we were younger in the movement. He grew up with most of all those military generals. Yes, when they were, I think he attended a military school at the stage in either Zaria or Kaduna. So he knew most of all those generals, and he has problem dealing with them. And there was something, you see, in Nigeria or most developed countries, most developing countries, is the question of, you see, people has a price. And even the media of that time is different from the media of today. Most of the media people of that time were playing what you call guerrilla journalism. And they were ready for any struggle. So they risked their life. And in the labor movement too, because the military in Abuja sent a lot of emissaries to me, but I turned them down. And I think the last thing they did was to take all the labor leaders to Abuja. They brought a plane, and I refused to join them to Abuja. And when they came back, they were all singing a different tune. So I was shedding tears, and I went to the Modu Hall and addressed the world that if you people won't fight this struggle, you will be on the wrong side of history. But we in Nupeng, just one union out of the 42 industrial unions, that we will stand on the side of the people, on the side of history. So I think I'm getting dark here. Are you seeing me properly?
Yes, it's getting dark, sir.
I'm getting dark.
No, but I can see your smile.
Yes, but I'm in my garden, so I'll go into my parlor and start the conversation with the lights on. I'll tell them the generator I want to put on.
That's fine, sir.
So that I will be properly seen.
Okay, sir.
So that's the position.
Sir. Okay, sir.
That's the position. No.
Perfect, sir.
Just give me 2 minutes to walk into my house.
Okay, sir. Okay, sir. Okay, sir.
When it's in it's even very good because of the lights. Yes. Yes, I'm under the lights.
Perfect.
Now.
This is a very good place.
On my balcony.
Perfect, sir. Yes, sir. So that you were telling us about this. So tell us some of the other things that happened, some of the role that the labor union played. Can you tell us some of the role that Nupeng played in that election? Give us some facts, some of the stories of the things that happened.
The sound, I'm not
Can you hear me, sir?
You properly. I'm not hearing the sound. The generator is drowning your...
Can you hear me now, sir?
Yes, I'm hearing you well now.
Can you hear me now, sir?
Yes, I'm hearing you.
Okay, I moved the mic to close to my face. Can you tell us some of the sufferings that you had to go through, some of your experience in detention?
No, my experiences.
Some of the sufferings you had to go through, some of your experience in detention.
Actually, the type of prison I went to is different from most other prisons. It's different from most other prisons because, like what I told in Madiba when I met him after I came out of prison, that's when I say the Madiba, I'm talking about the great Mandela, because he came to Nigeria twice. Himself and the Pope, they came to plead for us. Those of us who were prisoners of conscience. And I remembered at that time, he made the list was 12 names. The Pope came, Mandela came. Abiola was the first name, Kokori was the second name. You see, but in my own case, to me,
wow,
both trade unions, all labor centers in the world, the ILO in Geneva, they were all involved in the struggle to release me. But because I was in one of the worst prisons in the world, and I was treated so badly, I was in Burma prison on the fringes of the desert in the north. So my cell was almost hitting 49 Celsius degrees. So it's so hot. And I was in solitary confinement. So you could see that it wasn't easier.
Wow.
But I spent 4 good years as a prisoner of conscience.
Wow.
In a solitary confinement. I think
what crime did Abacha file against you? What crime did they file against you? What did they say you did in the court of law?
No, this is a military regime. They could not get to the court. Gani Fahimi got what do you call this? Not McDamus, or what did the lawyers call it? To get an act of McDamus that they should take me to the court. For 4 years, I never stepped to court. No charges were laid against me. It's a military regime, and I knew what I was going into. Because I trained with freedom fighters during the Cold War years in Russia, in Czechoslovakia, in East Germany, up to Saigon. I was in the Mada Forest in Saigon with freedom fighters. So I knew what I was going into. They don't take you to court. So you could die or you come out alive. Because I knew what I was doing. So it's not a question that I was tricked into it. You see, what I did for my country. If I don't do it at that time, and God put me in a position to lead one of the most powerful unions, which I built with my sweat, and the whole cadres of Nupeng, you can't buy them at that time. You can't, because of the example I gave to them. So when the other unions disgraced the country, Nupeng people could not. And I'm from an oil-producing place. So and the whole people in the rigs, and the terminal, the oil terminals, the refineries, and everything, they know I'm from the Niger Delta. And I've led them for 16 years at that time without blemish. I have the best condition of service for them. And they know the management can't buy me. And that was strange in an oil industry. So I was living a normal life. You see, that's all. And I was comparatively at that time, I was well educated. So I could match any management in the oil industry. Because the multinationals like Shell, Chevron, Mobil, they have well-trained industrial relations experts. So when they have those type of people, and most workers are not up to that level, but people like us were trained from the best schools, the best universities. So we're able to match them when I negotiate for my workers. So they have that confidence in me. So it became Nupeng. Then even the NADECO have to make sure that they were giving Nupeng the publicity, the propaganda across the world. They were going, they were in America, they were in everywhere. And so the struggle was now internationalized. And about two of my children who just left the university there joined Hafsat Abiola in America, my daughter, Cordelia, and they were campaigning with people like Wole Soyinka, people like Enahoro, Akinrinade. They were all campaigning in America and Europe. But we were being captured and we were inside the prison. And I personally, the oil workers all over the world and the labor federations all over the world were campaigning for me for my release. That was why people like Mandela came here and people like Pope John Paul came here for our release. But I still say up till today that the Nigerian Labour Congress of that period disappointed the Nigerian masses. If they have just added their little weight to me.
How do you mean, sir?
Pardon? I said the Nigerian Labour.
How did the Labour disappoint?
Yes, I said the Labour movement betrayed the struggle. We have the Nigerian Labour Congress. All I needed from them was just to give me solidarity support. But they refused. So it's only Nupeng that fought the battle, that fought the tough physical battle. Then the civil society of Nigeria at that time, they were prominent. They were real people. Then the NADECO, they were doing their job. I could tell you that people like Gani Fawahimi, people like Bekor and Sonkuti, people like Fasheun, people like Femi Falana were resuming at a stage in Nupeng office just to give me, you see, to give me support that, look, Kokori, we're all relying on you. So don't. So I tell them, I said, no, you see, you people are doing your best. So continue with what you are doing. You people are just soldiers without arms. But I am a soldier with even a sword. I have a sword because of the oil union. So, but they will come to me. They resume every morning they come to give solidarity to Nupeng until I was abducted. So it is that abduction and my phone that was taken from me, my cellular phone. I remember that phone, I call it, I think the name is Motorola Workhorse. It's a cellular phone. And I use it to contact anywhere in the world. The BBC interviews me with it. The CNN interviews me with it. Oil workers in the rigs everywhere. But I was underground, for about 9 weeks I was underground in Lagos. Nobody knows where I was. And at times they will say, I'm dead. At times they will say they've captured me. At times. But I was moving from some backyard hotels, small guest houses. I wasn't using my white at that time. So I was fully disguised. I wasn't using my trademark black cap. So if I come out, and I was make sure my children were grown up. So at a stage, my children were driving me and Kudirat in disguise.
Wow.
So they won't even know I'm the person. Because Kudirat will not use her drivers. And my drivers in Nupeng, I don't use them because I can't trust them. So my senior son then was 22 years. So he drives me about 20 years or 22 years. He's an undergraduate at that time. And I had two of them. So two of them were driving me. So they know where to drop me in my hideout. So it's only my children and my wife who knows where I am, because I will always sleep with my wife. The reason is because of the trainings I had as a freedom fighter. Because I don't want to be captured. Like the night they captured me, they could just put a prostitute beside me and with bottles of beer and everything. Then they will now blackmail me to the world that I'm shutting down Nigeria, and yet I'm enjoying myself in a hotel with women, with prostitutes. So I took all those into consideration because of my knowledge of freedom struggles all over the world.
Do you think, sir, that the sacrifice has been worth it? Is this the democracy that you fought for? The democracy that we have seen between 1999 and 2019, from administration to administration. Is Nigeria where you fought for it to be? I'm not sure if Chief is still there. I think it's frozen a little bit. I hope that he's still able to connect. I don't know if it's my internet or his internet, but let me refresh my browser. I think I lost Chief. I'm waiting for him to come back. Please bear with us. Prince Atobatele, you heard what I was saying about is this, when you hear these stories that these men are sharing, the sacrifices they have to make, and you're just still wondering, what is wrong with us as a nation? What is wrong with us as a people? It can be heartbroken sometimes. And this is not about any political party or any individual at the top. It's something that has gone from one party to the other, from one individual to the other. It's just sad sometimes when you listen to all of this. So, Atobatele Owolabi, I saw your message. I say absolutely no. This is not the Nigeria that these people fought for. But at least we're making some progress now. We should be fully industrialized by now. I'm expecting Chief Kokori to come back on. There was a network problem on the side. I'm expecting him back on the conversation. Please bear with us for a second. I'm going to try to put a call through to him and find out what's going on. He had a bit of a challenge connecting with us earlier. That was why we started late. Please bear with me. I'm just trying to ring him. Is it just me, or do you also feel like a weight, when you hear the stories? Please comment. I'd like to read your comment. How do you feel when you hear the struggles that this man had to go through? It's so sad. Like, you really feel a burden. You feel a burden. You feel a pressure. You feel like, what is going on? What is going on? It's sad. Collins Udo, message. I'm asking, is this, and it's not just about 2015 to now. No, it's the whole 20 years of democracy. Everyone, I see your message in 1999 during the transition to democratic rule. That is why we're here today. And I think it was I don't know if Daddy, we're waiting for you, sir. It's trying to come back. The burden for me is that everyone, the mistake they made in 1999 during the transition to democratic rule, not getting involved, you're very right, created a lacuna. And we had people who took opportunity and got into the government, but they didn't know what to do. And they couldn't do the right thing. So when you look at the suffering of these people, I think it was Ojuju that said it on Sunday, that the inheritors of the struggle, yes, it was Senator Ojuju that said it. It's in my note that it says something about people who inherited the struggle our students to come out and stand for a new Nigeria, or to stand for something. I see Pastor George saying, looking forward to Nigeria of our dream. Actually, more like a Nigeria of our making. But we've got to do something. The challenge we also have is that we're not concentrating. Kokori is coming back. It's trying to join us. He had some network issues, so please let's be patient. As someone that says, I think the problem is that those who fought went to relax without impact or calculating the spirit of sincere struggle for the next generation. You know, we don't have a plan. As a nation, we don't have a national identity. We don't have a symbol. There's no central figure of leadership. There's so much division across our nation over the last few years. Under Jonathan, it was the Niger Deltas, Avengers, and these other ones who were asking for their own share. And then at a stage, that was under Yaradua up to Jonathan. Then you had the Boko Haram issue, then you have the herdsmen issue, and you have all of this. And you say, when will we as a nation, and I must commend what is going on in Lagos. And I'm not being partisan, but the reality is that we have a leadership that has a master plan and saying, I want to fix the issues on the long term. So I want to fix the road. I'm going to build the regional road. I'm going to do Fort Mainland Bridge, and they're sincere. We need to begin to have leaders like that, even at the local government level across our nation. A local government chairman that has a master plan for his own local government, that knows the problem he wants to solve. Transportation, in my local government. How do I want to, you need to have all of those. I think Chief is back.
Okay.
Hello, sir.
Hello.
Chief is back, but we're waiting for his video to project. It's so, I feel so, I can see you now, sir. We can all see you, sir. We missed you.
Okay.
Coming back, sir. Before you came back, we were just we're discussing among ourselves, myself and the viewers, about the kind of sacrifices and price that your generation had to make for Nigeria, and we are still here today. It is so annoying.
Come up again.
I don't know if you share my sentiments, sir. Is this the democracy that you want? I said it's annoying that you guys have to pay all this price, and this is where we are in Nigeria today. Do you not feel that for the prices that you paid, Nigeria should have been better than this?
Oh, yes, I've been disillusioned for years now. I'm disillusioned with this country. And you see, I'm one of those few top freedom fighters in the world who came out and there was no real joy. Because great freedom fighters, when they come out from prison, from detention, from the gulag, see, the country always appreciates them. You see, but when I came out, I came because I wanted democracy for my country. At that time, when we were fighting this battle, we were saying that our children, we were ready to die so that our children should live a happy life and we live a better country. I was one of the lucky people to come alive because I know MKO died. I know General Yaradua died. Kudirat died. A lot of other people died. You see, but I came out alive, and we thought Nigeria would be a different country by now. That was why I took all those sacrifices. And so when I was in the detention and I was going through hell, you see, the type of detention I go through it's not what you can describe in just a moment. You see, when people these days, they say they go to detention, they have cell phone, they watch television, they do. Me, you don't, nobody talks to me. You see, I was right in the heart of Abacha's kingdom. that is Bama, where the wife comes from. And they're all Kanuris. And at the initial stage, I was like an enemy. The whole world asked everybody that this is the man who fighting their son and is preventing them from smuggling petrol. But before I left, after 2 years, they now started taking me as somebody serious. That, Chief, you mean he said this Abacha's government is now a government of only generals and the emirs. So your fight was a good fight. And controller of prisons, the head of prison, the warders who were guiding me 24 hours, who won't even allow me to speak my language to my wife. When my wife is the only person allowed to see me. You will fly from Lagos, at that time, to Medu. No other person can see me. Even my Nopeng people can't see me. And with all that, I came out alive. So I felt that it's a better society, and that was why we plunged in to the SDP and all this at that time. But when we came out, Abiola have died. Even though Abiola should have formed his government. And obviously, I was very close to him, like what he told me. I was very close to him, and he even offered me a portfolio at that time. He offered me, I told him, as MKO, forget about that portfolio. And even that portfolio, if I'm to serve under you, I won't take that portfolio. I know the portfolio I will take. It's not a portfolio that will give me money I want to take. Know the portfolio I will take. See, so he was baffled, and Kudirat was baffled that how is this man we don't know? MKO has helped so many people in his life, but he hasn't even met me. We have not met face to face. Reputation, and he heard about me on reputation. So that's all. You see, but I fought that battle for my country, even for MKO. But unfortunately, since we came out, the country had been under siege again. And we thought that Obasanjo, because he had the same experience with me, and we were very close, Obasanjo himself. Even he was to be brought from Yola to my cell when he was having some problems in Yola prison, where the chief controller of prison told me they started building. After they finished that cell, because when I went to Burma, there was no political prisoner cell in Burma. So I was just kept in a store, in the kitchen. I spent 2 years there, heavily guarded in a kitchen store. Because after 2 years, it's a special cell for me. And the next cell attached to me was to be occupied by Obasanjo. And because the chief warder and the controller of prisons told me that Obasanjo is having problem in Yola where there was no water. They were having water, and it wasn't okay. That in Burma there is water. We're always having water. So, but he never came back. So when he came out, we have to meet. He had to apologize to me for certain things he did to me before we went to prison. And we were working, and he gave me some promises. So I was visiting him regularly at the State House. Even at times I would spend a week with him at the State House. You see, but all the discussions we had, Obasanjo could not fulfill anything. It was wonderful. All this question of decentralizing the government, having a real confederation, and all that, Obasanjo could not do it. Afenifere was pressurizing him. Afenifere was pressurizing. The civil society was pressurizing. Obasanjo could not do it. So all these things people are talking about restructuring Nigeria, he was the person who have done it. He has all the powers. He retired all the political generals and military people. He had absolute power, and the people were behind him. But why Obasanjo refused to carry out the will of the people still baffles me up to today. And since then, I don't think I've been in close contact with Obasanjo any longer. So we are close, very close. I sit with him in his office in Aso Rock. And I was staying at the command guest house when he just took over. So we had serious discussions. I take dinner with him, I take lunch with him. But he won't listen to me. At the end, he cut off. Until his last years in office, he now started manipulating the third term agenda. So that was what. So it's not the country we look for. But when I see people now struggling for restructuring and everything, I say, look, Obasanjo should have done it himself. Even Goodluck should have done it. So what are they talking about? Is it now that an Hausa Fulani have got it, that you now say restructuring, they are oppressing the South? No. Southerners had 16 years. Could they restructure the country? They could not. Obasanjo had all the opportunity to restructure the country. He could not. So that is the area. Those of us who sacrificed so much. Unfortunately, too, he was roped into a phantom coup. So he should have learned a lot of lessons from that. And that is why when he came out, we became so close. Because he should have died like his friend there, General Yaradua. So I thought Obasanjo would be a changed man. But he never changed. And now when he is out of office, he is now talking about restructuring and advising various presidents. When he was there, he could not do it. And the whole country, with the civil society, everybody relied on him. Even the Afenifere people relied on him. The Nadeko relied on him. He could not do anything. So those are some of those things that have made us disillusioned. I'm happily today, I'm living a quiet, contented life in my country home here, the heart of the Niger Delta. Are you with me? So that's it, Dayo. Finally, I think I will say that that was one of the biggest struggles in the history of our country, because the military thought they were invincible. But when the people rose against the military now knew that even though we don't have a crop of freedom fighters like the ANC and SWAPO and Frelimo, but Nigerians were united. We had a militant press, and we had a well-enlightened civil society, then with the spirit of that struggle, which is Nopeng, the great Nopeng. And what we did for our country, not for ourselves. So today, as we approach June 12th anniversary, our prayer is that Nigeria should be a better place to live in. And that cankerworm of corruption in our country, my prayer is that the government should be able to deal with those who have taken the commonwealth of our people. And that is why the fight against corruption is one of the reasons why I supported Buhari to become the president. But today, I can't say I will win 90%, maybe 65% in the struggle to wipe out corruption. But to me, he's still the best person. because most other leaders in Nigeria will think of themselves first before other people. But because of his situation, which I know myself, well, I still have sympathy for him. And we hope that we'll be able to make Nigeria a better place than the way he met it. I think that is my advice, and that is what I wish for my country. Thank you very much. God bless all of you.
Chief Kokori, thank you so much, sir. Thank you so much. I know that the conversation I really wanted to have with you, the network is not giving me the opportunity to have that conversation, but we're grateful for the word that you have shared to us. Before I let you go, sir, I want you to tell us a story of one of your experiences, before you were kidnapped into detention. Just tell us one of the stories that you remember, that if you remember, you just either shake your head or you smile, or you just, tell us one of these stories that the younger generation must remember and know that these are all the things that happened around the June 12th period. And then give us your final advice to young Nigeria on the way forward.
I told you something. I said this, I can't breathe. That is now a revolution in America and all over the world. You are following it? Are you not following it?
Yes.
I can't breathe.
Yes, following it very well, sir.
Leod. And that is what is
Floyd.
That is what is galvanizing the whole youth, galvanizing all people who love freedom and anti-racists in America. Today, apart from the big cities of America, of Washington, New York, Los Angeles, Minneapolis, just call them. And now it has gone to London. It has gone to Germany. It has gone to France. Demonstrations all over the world. I can't breathe. And that I can't breathe happened to me 26 years ago in this country. I should have died there. But I just managed to raise my voice and told them that if I die, Nigeria will go up in flames. And they got up. Two hefty men were sitting on my chest, and they've knocked me down inside the vehicle. So those are some of the experiences that we can't forget. The fact that going into a solitary prison, in a very bad prison, for 4 solitary years, and I still came out alive because I loved my country, not because I committed any crime. No, because even the decision we took in NUPEN was taken. I had to sell it to the Central Working Committee of NUPEN. They gave approval. We went to the National Executive Council of NUPEN. They gave the approval. And I went around the whole zones of the country. The Warri zone, the Port Harcourt zone, the Kaduna zone, and the Lagos zone. And they gave us the mandate to go on that strike. And so they could
is
not.
That a stay-at-home one? Is that a stay-at-home
Yeah,
one?
at that time, actually, the people were forced to stay at home because there was no movement, because oil was the soul of this country. Petrol was the soul of this country. And without petroleum products, which was directly under NUPENG at that time, whole workers in the oil industry, then with the backing of the senior staff at that time, the Pengasin. See, I'm a career unionist. That is one thing people should know. I'm a career unionist. As a career unionist, I was trained to become a unionist. All the degrees I have were in industrial relations and development studies. So it's all political economy that I read and struggles all over the world. And I did it practically in the socialist world during the Cold War years. So I mixed with freedom fighters all over the world at that time. And so my only advice to my country is that people should be more patriotic for their country. And the leadership of Africa, most African countries today, is a disgrace. And that is what is making Africans suffer all over the world, crossing the Atlantic. Youths dying, the Caribbean from Libya. And it's a shame to African leaders. Now, why should we migrate to Europe? In my own time, we don't migrate. We just visit Europe as VIPs. And we come back, and they respect us. They respect us because we were living better than most of them at that time. So I think the shame is more on Nigeria because Nigeria was supposed to be the big father of all African nations. But since we could not do it well, but I said that we had a second opportunity, and that was 1999. Blessed by God to take Nigeria out of the rut that we found ourselves by the military. We failed to do it. So one of my disillusionment is actually with Obasanjo. Because Obasanjo is the luckiest Nigerian you can think of. He's very, very lucky. But what he should have done to save this country, he did not do it. So that's the only problem we have with him. So
a young man is asking, Samuel Dada, he says, did you at any time, were you at any time afraid of the food you were given? Or were you, in detention? Were you scared that you were going to be assassinated in detention?
I was calling me.
I think we.
I don't.
Can you hear me, sir?
That he should not bother me that I'm on. Are you hearing me?
Yes. Yes, I can hear you, sir.
Yeah, so that
I can hear you,
my
sir.
final word. My final word is that you people are young people and continue the struggle because, like the trade unions will say, the struggle continues.
Continues. Aluta continua.
Victoria
Asada.
Solidarity forever.
Forever. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. But before I let you go, I still want to. Absat Abiola was on the show some days ago, and she was talking about how her mother sold their house on Toyin Street so that they could raise money to pay the people to stay at home. Do you recollect that experience, sir?
Yeah, mother was a wonderful woman. Kudirat Abiola was a wonderful woman. She's a wonderful woman. And I worked with her throughout. And actually, MK Abiola told me the first time I met him, he has so many wives, but he said, look, Frank, you only deal with one of my wives. Don't deal with any other one. And that one is Kudirat Abiola. Then, unfortunately, Simbiat have died. So, but he now said, Abiola is a very disciplined man. I think his house was very disciplined. Even he had so many wives, but he knew what to do with his wives. So he told me that. And I remembered when I came out of prison, and when I was in the US for full medical checkup and solidarity visit to the American Federation of Labor, when we were going around America and talking, and people like Enauro were still there, Tinubu were still there, and they were all coming to meet me. Kudirat and all his siblings,
Afsat.
With all his siblings, they came to thank me in my hotel, to see me personally in my hotel. And they were very small at that time. And I gave, that was 1998, you could imagine. That's 22 years ago. And those children up to today are still very fond of me, all of them. But they are all grown-up men now and grown-up women.
Yes.
So, but they're very fond of me. So the Kudirat as a woman was a wonderful woman. She committed her life to that thing. Kudirat has beautiful cars. I know there are other families, but he would come into my car. I was using a Peugeot car that time, but normally air condition. My son was driving. He said, Chief Kokori, let us use your car. Because we will go into Sheraton Hotel in disguise to meet Papa in Nauru and the other people there. We'll go and meet them. And I was betrayed by one of them. And that was how it happened. By one of the small young men there who was working as a press man, the Abiola family. But he was staying at Sheraton. So if you've read my book, you will see a lot of all these things there. So that is that, Dayo.
Wow. We have to go and get a copy of your book.
People. I continue to encourage you young people to do your best you can do for your country. Today, the only thing I have is my name. And if I get to any part of this country, even at the airport, if there is only one seat remaining in the plane, the workers at the airport will struggle to give it to Papa Kokori. You see, I enjoy this. Even the policemen, when they see me, immediately I call my name, nobody harasses me. So these are some of the gains you gain. It's not, and when you die, it is not the billions you have. It is the legacy you will leave behind. And let me tell you something. The whole of Mandela Foundation has $4 million when he died. And this is the amount Nigerian governors take on a shopping spree to Dubai and London and Paris. But Mandela left only $4 million. And today is the greatest man who ever lived on earth in this century and the last century. So you build a name and you leave a legacy. It's not the property you have. The day you die, you will die alone. You go into your coffin alone, and you go into that your 6 feet alone. So that is my contentment today in life. Thank you very much, and God bless you again.
Thank you so much, ladies and gentlemen. This is another emotional session, a very inspiring session. I'm looking forward to having another conversation very soon with Chief Kokori. You know, if you don't know where you're coming from, you cannot plan for where you are going to. It is such an honor to have this conversation tonight with this great Nigerian that will forever cherish. Thank you so much, Chief Kokori, for your time. And to everyone who is watching, thank you so much. I think tomorrow we have Ayobe joining us. We thank you, sir. Thank you, sir. Look forward to seeing everybody tomorrow. God bless you.